freaking first cut. Golly.
Hello, YouTube. It's Tiger Week Part 2, PNC Championship coming up this week, plus a lot of other things to talk about. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll get started now. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, joined first today by Patrick McDonald, who seemingly is now updating his little handle there with his college basketball betting record. Hello, Patrick.
It's all I got, Rick. It's been a bloodbath in golf, so we're shifting focus to the hardwood. And tonight it's a light slate, but I got to pick and some PNC pick as well.
And the record that he's touting, Kyle, is the massive 1-1.
Well, compared to the golf record, it actually is fairly impressive. So, is this like you're giving out one pick a week? What's like people have to wait till the end of the show? What's the deal?
I think it's just got to be whatever game Tuesday night is on ESPN. I'm gonna bet.
And then do you like when you do a basketball game like that, or let's say you do a Thursday night football or something like that, are you watching the whole thing? Do you want to watch? Do you not want to watch? What's the play?
I did watch the Illinois-Texas game, which was electric. I know Rick was on that one as well.
Bang, baby.
Not a big deal. Sometimes the kid gets hot. But tonight it's an underplay. And I mean, for that, no one likes betting on unders, but you got to pay the bills.
Do you guys do it live? We'll do it live.
Yeah, live betting is probably, my opinion, one of the better ways to bet.
Okay.
It's good. I mean, the reason I bet is because I want to watch the game or follow along with it or have a reason to root for it. So it's very rare that I would just make a wager and then check tomorrow morning to see if I've won it. I want to at least tune in for a little bit and root for something.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I was just curious about, but it's not a world that I jump into that often. So I was just curious about what the methodology was there.
Yeah. I've got a couple other items before we jump neck deep into this thing. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about what was going to happen with our blue check marks. And I don't think we're getting any more clarification, but we are getting things changing. So if you now click on my blue check mark, it says verified account. This is a legacy verified account. It may or may not be notable, which is literally the perfect description of why I have a blue check mark.
It's basically saying, who can say? Who knows?
Who can say?
Surely you jest.
Seriously. I tried to read. So Twitter put out this explanation of the Twitter Blue the service or whatever it is. I tried to read through it. It shouldn't be this complicated, should it? I mean, it's almost, and I think I understand what they're trying to do, but it just is. Part of me is guys, just improve the product. That's all I want. Just make the product better incrementally over time. That's all I'm asking for. I don't need your prisoner's dilemma of why the blue check mark was changed to a gold and what I don't know. There's just a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is just an absolute horrible mess. If you could share my screen, Troy, now these are starting to roll out. Yeah, the gold check mark, the PGA Tour's gold check mark has made a debut, which listen, if you were the PGA Tour, you wanted to be just like everybody else. I don't think, or you're any business, you did not want to be called out as a business, but I guess here we are, Patrick.
Well, sorry to jump in, Patrick.
That's all right.
No, go, Kyle. I mean, you're the king of Twitter. Keep going.
I've got just takes on this. The whole idea of making okay. So these organizations have a gold check mark now, and then other people have blue. But like you read earlier, Rick, you may or may not be important if you have a blue check mark. So it's sort of leveling the playing field, which I actually think is great. But it still doesn't solve the when T. Higgins is being traded from the Bengals to the Dolphins and a blue check mark tweets it. Before I knew okay, that's the way I can check to see if this is real. And now it's Who knows? Literally, who can say is what they say in the profile.
I've actually said everyone should be verified, but you should actually be verified, not just like pay $8 a month. Patrick, I think we need you to be the guinea pig here, because I'm still not sure what happens to our legacy check marks if we do subscribe to Twitter Blue. Is it going to say we now are getting it because we're subscribed, or is it going to continue to say it's a legacy? So we need you to kind of take the team here.
Rick, I'm not gonna lie. I subscribed this morning to Twitter Blue.
Oh,
so you picked the best guinea pig possible. I think you get 30 days for them to review your account again, and then you get verified again. You get to keep your check mark. But for me, it was really the advertisements. I mean, every third or second tweet was essentially an ad, and Twitter Blue said they cut them in half. So I was like, all right. I mean, I just won a college basketball bet. I got a little money to spare. Here's Twitter Blue.
They ramped up the pain and then gave you a way to ease the pain.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say Elon might be listening to this podcast, because I think we said we wanted different colored check marks. It would be something if like green were like journalists or something, and like purple were celebrities, or I don't know. Maybe they go down that route eventually, because like Kyle said, I get duped by a fake Adam Schefter account once a week. Easy. And this is not going to make it easier.
Seriously. And I don't know, maybe that's not, I'm probably being short-sighted to say that like the problem that they're trying to solve is for random obscure NFL trades, right? Like that's probably not what they're talking about, but that's sort of the world that we all live in. And I do think, I think the Twitter profile, Packy McCormick, who doesn't do golf or anything related to sports, but he writes a really interesting newsletter, and I think he's got a podcast. He's written about how the Twitter profile is one of the most underutilized and undervalued. It's been one of the most undervalued spaces on the internet. I mean, think about, and I think Twitter started to get into this, like allowing. I saw MKBHD, the tech YouTuber, who's fantastic. He's selling stuff on his Twitter profile. Like it's implemented right into the pro. There's just so many things you could do with the profile, and up until now, they haven't really utilized that space. So I think there are a bunch of different things you can do. And maybe it's inevitable that there's going to be confusion. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt there, but I do still feel a little bit confused about everything.
All right. Well, I'm going to wait 30 days to see what Patrick's account says.
I gotcha.
And then go from there. In other phony baloney news, have you guys been following the Scramble 46 drama across the game as well?
Scramble 46. It has a name.
Is that the official name?
It is now, I guess.
So for those of you who have not heard, I'll try to get this all correct. There was a charity scramble in Alabama last week or the week before where a team posted a 46, and even Patrick, in terms of wonky, cheating, scrambling scores, this one was like 13 shots better than anybody else out there.
I'm going to say, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think I believe them. With scrambles, you can buy so much string, mulligans, all this different stuff. And I mean, who's to say no? I'm okay with the 46 as Kyle. Who would say no? Who knows? So what's 72 minus 46? 30 something, 26 under.
Yeah, it was a par 72, which means they were 26 under. Correct. Now I do have a little bit more information. I guess it was coming out. KP, they had I don't know the legitimacy of if they actually got a guy from this team, but he went on this podcast, and apparently they had 8 mulligans and I think 3 throws is what they have. And those throws do not count as strokes. The big problem here, they did ace a 386-yard par 4, which was a little tough even with throws and mulligans to make that happen, along with the rest of the 26 under round.
Can you use all 3 throws consecutively?
Seemingly, yes.
Okay, so I think you could ace a par 4 that way, right?
Yes. Now we got to figure out the other 23 under.
Well, I mean, you gave me one problem to solve, and I solved it. I don't know what to do with the right. I think this would be an interesting format for the next match. Let them play scramble. Bring in.
It is amazing. Like the 4 guys who played in the match could not have shot a 46 in a scramble, right? With 8 mulligans and a couple of throws.
No. Well, I mean, okay. So if you let's say you had a standard par 72, 18 holes, 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s. You birdie everything except for the par 5s, and you eagle all of those. What is that? That's
24.
That's 50 under, or that's a 50. Sorry,
yeah, that's a 50.
And 24 under. So you got to find 4 more strokes in there.
I think I have. So if you think they didn't cheat and you believe them, I have the only explanation.
Show us the path.
They believe the mulligans did not count as strokes. Right? So if you were somewhat new, or it's 100% wrong, right? But like if you were going to your first scramble, and maybe you haven't done a lot of these before, and maybe you heard somebody say something, and when you took a mulligan, you basically just wiped the stroke off. That's how this adds up. Now, we can discuss the merits of how good do you have to be at golf to shoot this, but still be unaware of how mulligans work. We can have that discussion, but that is like the only way this adds up.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. I will say I believe them, but this is a great point to abolish scrambles. Totally. I hate scrambles. I cannot. You take me. My friends have this weird inclination to do scrambles whenever we do a group event, and it's the worst thing in the world. You can't get a rhythm. It's not fun.
I like this take. Okay, so I've played in probably 2. I was supposed to play in like 2 or 3 scramble, like charity, like organizations that put on scrambles here in Dallas with friends. And I had an enjoyable time. What would you do different? How would those organizations put events on?
Oh man, you're throwing the charity at me, KP. How are you going to do?
No, that's not the crux of this thing.
I know.
I'm just curious about how you would do it differently. Like I'm not sure. Like if the 4 of us, if producer Troy and us 3 got together for a buddy's golf trip. Yeah, like we don't need to be playing a scramble, but I think there's a world in which scrambles can be fun and good.
Yeah, I guess I think it caters more so to really poor golfers, right? Just kind of pick up the pace kind of deal, but just have a strict time limit. Like boys, we're flying around in 4 unders or under 4 hours or under, or you get off the course.
What an elitist take. All those poor golfers who have to go out and help out these charitable foundations. How dare they make us play a scramble?
Yeah. Patrick McDonald against poor golfers and charities. That is me.
The best scramble I ever played gave like the top prize, I think, was to the 4th or 5th best score, which just basically removed any possibility of cheating, because when someone came in with a 46, it was like, well, sorry, played really well, but you get nothing.
That's sick. I love that.
Yeah. And then everyone's like, well, I'm too nervous to go super low, so we're just going to all be honest about this.
That's a tremendous idea. Way in.
What if you get hosed and you shoot 20 under?
Sorry, sucker.
Well, you're still excited because you shot 20 under. Like you played. The other thing about scrambles is it makes you feel like you're a lot better than you actually are.
Yeah, you're like, I had like 4 natural birdies by myself, pretty much. Well, I putted last every time.
pretty much. I'll come home and tell my wife, like, yeah, we shot, I don't know, 61. And she's like, what? Really? And I'm like, well, yeah, it was a scramble, but still, we shot 61.
We got lapped by the field, by the way. All right, gents, here's what we got to talk about. We got to talk about the PNC Championship, Tiger. We've got maybe some fun stuff on the other side as well, but we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. PNC Championship tickets are sold out. You waited too long. If you want to get in, you cannot, because Tiger Woods is playing again at the PNC Championship. The Dailies back to defend their title. Patrick, this is the event that got, I mean, this event alone probably wins Tiger the pip between all the stuff that's going to come out of it with the Charlie mannerisms and everything else that we see for the next 12 months.
I guess the people of Florida like scrambles a whole lot more than me if they're selling out this event. But yeah, like you said, it's pretty much the Charlie Woods show. It feels like the past couple of years, the first year with the par fives, last year, the club twirling. I think they had 11 straight birdies trying to catch the dailies down the stretch there. It was actually pretty fun to watch for as much as I just kind of talk down scrambles, but it should be good. And you have Nelly Korda in the mix with her dad. Jordan Spieth is playing this year, Justin Thomas. So it's a fun event to kind of wrap up the year.
Yeah, the Thomases are back, Mike and Justin. Obviously, the defending champions, John Daly and his son, John Daly Jr. The Sinks are in it. The Faldos, Jim Furyk and Tanner Furyk. Patrick already mentioned Nelly Korda and her dad, Peter. It's pretty stacked, dude. What do you think, KP?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think that Shane Bacon had this take last year, and I agree with it, is that I think this is the type of event that should probably get more attention than it used to. I guess it does now because of Tiger, right? But it's fathers and daughters and fathers and sons and moms and sons, and it's all the sort of cliche stuff or cliche reasons that we love golf, but legitimate ones, like really actually good reasons. And I think it's cool that some of the unintended benefit, I think, of Tiger playing in it is that you get to enjoy watching dads and daughters or dads and sons play together. And I think that is, it's a very valuable thing. And I think it's, for me, it was one of the most fun weekends of the entire year in 2021. I don't know if that's how 2022 will play out, but I think that overall it's kind of an underrated event.
Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, fresh off their match victory, Patrick, they kind of flipped the script here. They're the sons in the pairings, which is going to get them near the top of the betting board when it comes to who's going to win this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, what is it? Mike Thomas is the PGA pro for nearly 40 years. Justin's dad and swing coach, obviously. I have no clue about Spieth's dad's game. Do either of you?
No,
I mean,
have you done a deep dive in the handicap?
I think he's just an average. I think he's just a dad. Like, I don't think he is playing a ton.
So, I mean, he's got dad strength. That's always dangerous. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you have two of the top 15 players in the world, at least top 20 in them two. And then after them's Tiger and Charlie. So Charlie's got to beat up on Justin and Jordan, it looks like.
There's a couple other interesting teams here. First off, Bernard Langer is playing with Jason Langer. Now he's got a lot to choose from, KP, right? That Langer crew is like, they roll deep. I'm not sure the affiliation between Jason. I don't know if that's his son, grandson, somewhere in between, but we've seen some pretty interesting combos here.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just trying to look up the handicap of Sean Spieth. Normal. Jordan's dad. Probably Patrick can look that up while we're chatting.
I'll get you.
But the Longers, it's got to be it's probably grandson, right?
Son.
Oh, okay.
So I just found him. So he is the son of Bernard Langer, and he plays golf at Penn.
Oh, wow. That's kind of dirty. Were they in it last year?
I don't think so. I'll look it up. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I thought Nelly was a really compelling figure last year. Her and obviously her dad. Remember she took that picture with Tiger and she was like,
Yep.
Like kind of fangirl. And I joked that it was the first time the number one player in the world has been excited to take a picture with the number 583 player in the world, which is what Tiger was at the time. So I don't remember your original question. It was about the Longers.
That's all right. I was just kind of creating segues into some of these other groups here. As far as I can tell, the Longers did not play at all last year.
Okay.
So this could be a little dark horse pairing. Kids active.
We got the Sean Spieth update from a.
Okay. Can I guess?
I'll say it's from a 2010 article. That's all I got.
That's a long time ago.
He was 47 then, so he's around 60 now.
I would say he's probably like a 10.
I'll take under 10. I'll take he's a single digit cat, or at least was 13 years ago.
In 2010, week of the Byron Nelson, he was an 8.
Okay.
I wonder what he is now. What up?
Well, I was going to say he's busy running that MVP index that determines the PIP. He runs a company that contributes I don't know. It's kind of, the whole thing's a little bit bizarre. I don't really know how much of the formula this is for the PIP, but that's what his company does is run I think it's called the MVP index, which determines like your online popularity or social media popularity or something like that.
That is correct. Let's look at the odds board here. No surprise, Justin Thomas, Team Thomas. Those are the favorites, plus 275. Spieth plus 450. If you like the Woodses, plus 500. The Dailies to go back to back, 6-1. The Sinks at 10-1. Longers at 12-1. I'll tell you what, that's that dark horse squad. 12-1 right there. The Laymans are 15. Cordas are 18. A couple other notables. The Faldos 200-1. Patrick, do you have to go along with your college basketball pick? Do you have a pick to win the PNC championship?
Parlay, baby.
Ooh, KP, you're talking my language. Stop it. Sorry, I'm knee deep in Sean Spieth's Crunchbase account right now.
We should just Google random things and just talk about them. That's basically what we do during this podcast, anyway.
But I do have a pick, complete homer pick. Team Woods. Is it Team Woods. We'll go Team Woods 5-1. Tiger looked decent enough. He hit some good iron shots there at the match. I don't know how true his ball speed was. I don't know if he's throwing a little money in Warner and TNT there, but everything else looked fine. The short game was a little rusty. That's to be expected, I guess, for there to be a little rust. And then Charlie, everyone's raving about the kid. Time to put your money where your mouth is. Let's see if this 13-year-old kid can win this golf tournament. Does it feel good betting on a 13-year-old kid? I'm glad you guys asked. No, it doesn't.
No, it shouldn't. I do wonder if Charlie is the best. No, I guess he's not, because John Daly's kid's actually good, and we've got this longer kid playing at Penn.
This ringer, yeah.
Charlie Woods is not like at the level of a college golfer, but he's
up a tee.
Huh?
He's probably up a tee. Or two.
And he's better than Sean Spieth.
Yeah. Presumably.
But Tiger's not better than Jordan right now. I guess I'm curious about why the Team Woods isn't the favorite.
Sounds like you like the value at 5-1.
I kind of do. I said this on when did we talk, Rick? Saturday?
Yeah.
After the match. I think Charlie is going to be like I said, this is what I said, Patrick, is the last couple of years just been kind of like this fun, cute, like, oh, this kid is playing with his dad. I think he's going to be like nasty this year. Like, I think he's going to be like sick, like really good. And I'm not going to go down the route or path of like breaking down Charlie Woods' swing and talking about where he's going to end up playing college golf. I'm just saying, I think for these 2 days, I think he's going to be awesome.
I heard rumors he's going to Virginia Tech, but just rumors.
Just getting that started.
Yeah.
So now he feels like he can just say anything he wants because he's paid for that blue check mark. They can't take it away from him. You know, he doesn't even have to. You don't have to be a journalist anymore, Patrick. You're out here paying your $8 a month.
I have 30 days to let it all out. You know.
I had something else I wanted to say. I don't remember what it was. All right, so Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods at 5-1 for Patrick. What's the college basketball winner?
Oh, college basketball winner. Memphis at number 4, Alabama tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Bama coming off a huge 15-point come from behind win against number 1 Houston. They're going to be gassed. Memphis, Penny Hardaway, they kind of zigged when everyone else zagged. They have like 8 seniors on their team. Smart guys. Seniors are smarter than 18-year-olds. Proven fact. They're going to slow down the pace. I like under 152.5 tonight.
Who is that? Kind of took a turn. I didn't expect I didn't know how you were going to get to the under there. Just because they're smarter, they're going to score less.
Yeah. Well, I forgot they were both like top 20 in defensive efficiency, but semantics.
Oh, okay. So
the main point.
We've got a Ken Palm fan on our hands.
Go Hokies.
Did he go to Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's Alabama's coach?
It's a great question. It's not Avery Johnson anymore.
It's I think it's the guy from VCU, isn't it?
You're not thinking Shaka.
Nate Oates.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking of. No, I wasn't thinking Shaka. I was thinking, who was at VCU? I think it was after Shaka, or maybe before Shaka.
You got the wrong guy over here, Patrick.
That's above my pay grade too. Yeah,
he was
from my home state.
I can't remember his name. Okay, Nate Oates is not who I was thinking of. Is Alabama
here are your most recent VCU head coaches: Mike Rhodes, 2017 to present; Will Wade from 2015 to 2017; Shaka Smart, 2009 to 2015; Anthony Grant, 06 to 09.
Anthony Grant is who I was thinking of. Where's he at now? Are you on College Basketball Reference?
No, but he is apparently, I believe, the head coach at Dayton.
Okay, I like him. I think he's a really good coach.
He went from Alabama to the Oklahoma City Thunder as an assistant coach, and now he's the head coach at Dayton.
Okay, so he went VCU to Alabama, but then he burned out there. Like didn't get it done.
Right. Correct. Yeah, they were barely over 500 at Alabama.
And Nate Will Oates. Wade, while we're on the topic, one of the original bagmen. I mean, he was like
the ultimate.
Yeah. He loved tossing around those duffel bags.
He could have worked for Liv pretty easily.
Nowhere else can you get this level of analysis.
Hey, Rick, do you think I just thought of this? I read the long Rory thing in the Independent today, which was really good, and we can talk about it if you want. But do you think Patrick looks like Harry Diamond?
Yes, I do.
Harry Styles?
Yeah.
No,
that's pretty good, right?
Harry Diamond. Yeah, it's really good, actually. That's really good. That's so good. I'm going to find a photo. I like this a lot.
Yeah, we need to push this next year.
Should
Harry Diamond's he's a good-looking cat, Patrick. It's a compliment.
We should do one of those things. They've done it like with Andy Reid lookalikes, where I just grab Rory's bag one tournament and see if he notices.
Well, that happened at the what event was that last year?
I think was it the Scottish,
Irish or Scottish? Yeah, and it was not all that funny. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean, get the PGA Tour to play along and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can you
Sure,
share your screen, Rick?
Share my screen. Doesn't this kind of look just like him?
There's Patrick caddying for the number one player in the world.
Wow. This is...
I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this, fellas.
That's among my best work, I think.
Yeah.
So I claim within my family to be really good at this game of so-and-so looks like so-and-so. And my wife, she's like, you're actually abysmal. Like you think you're good and you are not. But I actually think this one's pretty good.
All right. I'm going to side with your wife on this one.
I have another one. Troy, if you can share my screen.
Oh boy. I don't like the laugh.
No, I mean, look at that. Looks just like you.
Yes.
You have a big chaw in?
It kind of looks like it.
There you go.
Harry's great. I'm a big Harry fan.
All right. We're gonna figure this out with the PGA Tour. Whatever tournament I'm at next. One pro-am day, whatever. I'm just going to take Rory's bag, see what happens.
It even got David's seal. David's a tough egg to crack, and he gave it a C+ comp.
C+ is passing.
That's like an A from anybody else.
I agree. All right.
Pull up Antonio's too.
Yeah, Antonio was on the. We
That's
were
false.
Yeah, we were suppressing that misinformation of Antonio saying it looks nothing like him.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
All right, we'll put a bow on this with a couple of news roundup items. There's a New York Times article. We can talk about that Rory article as well if you want to, KP. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. I just realized that Patrick was the only one I made give a pick. So he took the Woodses at 5-1. Kyle, do you want to take a pick at this?
Well, do we have the? Can we pull up the odds?
Yeah, they're in the outline.
Talk through them.
Yeah, so they're in the outline.
Okay, I've got it right here.
Okay.
Okay, I see. I was gonna have maybe pull them up on the screen, but team Woods plus 500. Team. You might have talked me into Team Longer at 12-1.
That's the one.
Team Furyk, Team Singh.
The Harringtons could be frisky at 35.
Somebody just took my my odds away.
Sorry, that
Where'd
was
it go?
me. I was trying to get him on the screen. Sorry, I can get him back for you, I think.
No, it's fine. I'll go with who's second? Spieth.
Yeah, 450.
450. I just don't know if Sean's 10 handicap is gonna carry the day.
From 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think Tiger and Charlie are gonna win the event. I think Charlie's gonna win the event.
If they do, that would be an all-time like value. The Woods is at 5-1 if they win it. Like there it is, Pat. Thank you, Troy.
How hilarious is it that Tiger was shorter than 5-1 at some majors by himself, and now he's
like most majors by himself.
Yeah, like in his prime, he would be like 4-1 or plus 750 or just absurd numbers.
It's nuts. It's nuts. All right, so I think the way that I think I'll take the Longers 12-1. That's the value. Bernard is like still amazing
Ageless.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a college senior who plays in an Ivy League school. Come on, they're going to be competitive out there. They're not here to mess around. They're here to win.
Yeah, I'm in on that take. I like the 12-1 value there.
It's a scramble, guys. That's all I remember. It's a scramble.
Two-man scramble, though.
Tiger and Charlie are going to win. I'm with KP. Conviction play from the writers.
Mm-hmm.
There was an article from the New York Times that let me just read you the headline here, Kyle. This is the headline. Confidential records show a Saudi golf tour built on far-fetched assumptions. It's got my attention.
Yeah, I read the article on Sunday morning. I actually read it. My daughter, my 3-year-old, kind of cuddled up next to me, had the fire going, reading on the iPad. And my wife was like, "Oh, that's so cute. What are you guys reading?" I was like, "Well, we're actually reading about McKenzie and Liv and the PGA Tour." She's like, "Oh, awesome." Look, I don't know if it was a super informative article. The crux of it is that the New York Times got a hold of all these sort of internal documents that Liv had or has that McKinsey helped consult on to try and put together what their path could be, like a viable path forward into the golf world. And I think the thing that struck me, Rick, and I'm curious about what y'all's opinion, I don't know if you guys read it or not, but just what your opinion is that the best case scenario that McKinsey could come up with is basically the PGA Tour's business model, and which was $1.5 billion of revenue a year, which I actually sort of disagree with. I think that there's opportunity for other revenue streams that the PGA Tour is probably for good reasons, or maybe not good reasons, not kind of turning on. I think there are opportunities for more revenue, but it just struck me that was sort of the best case scenario that McKinsey put in front of Liv, because Liv has been talking as if the PGA Tour's business model is a joke. They haven't said those words, but they've insinuated them. And, we're going to create all this value that doesn't exist in golf, and we're going to reinvent all these different things. And it's all, and McKinsey is not the end all be all. I'm not saying that, but that was the model that got put in front of them. And you're like, well, wait a second, this is just the PGA Tour all over again. And so that to me kind of stood out, and maybe Liv didn't agree with it, or didn't think it was, maybe they were more confident than what McKinsey said, but that was the best case scenario for them, and they still moved forward with it, which I thought was super interesting.
The proposal, or the project, called Project Wedge, by the way. Very creative stuff. In the most successful scenario, projected revenues of at least $1.4 billion a year in 2028, which, Patrick, is 5 years from now, basically 6 years from now. We got a couple weeks left of 2022. If the PGA Tour were to continue to grow as it has been, that they'd already be behind the PGA Tour by that point. But Kyle's right. The way this got laid out, there was no nothing incredibly amazing that came out of this, but to see what information that Liv had to get into the business, to make these decisions, was at least interesting, right? I mean, they laid out, hey, here are the 12 golfers that you want to get that are most going to drive revenue. I think they ended up getting 3 of them. Like that type of stuff as part of the decision-making process gives us a look behind the curtain.
Yeah, I think the article as a whole, like information-based wise, like you guys said, is a bit of a nothing burger, but I'm kind of going to push back and say, if you could tell Liv in 6 years you can match the PGA Tour, I think they'd be okay with it, honestly. I think that as a best case scenario, 6 years you're matching the premier PGA golf league.
They're going to be down like $8 billion by then.
Yeah, but I think they take it. And the thing about consultants is what they do is all fluff. It's all about, I'm serious. You rob them blind. It's unbelievable. It's literally no work at all. And especially with a company like, I'm not going to point any fingers here, but the company who did this, their customers aren't always straight shooters. So
consultants and scrambles is what we've got to that really.
I'm experienced in both. So trust me. I was off the teat of the government for a while.
I guess. Wow. I guess I just, one, they're talking about $350 million in profit or whatever per year. And you're like, well, man, that is just like, so does nothing for the public investment fund. So it kind of raised some more questions about, okay, why are you in this again? Which is not questions that they want being raised. And then the other thing I would say is again, like, is that a successful path, or is that a successful outcome? Yes, I would agree with you, Patrick, that it is, but it's not the way they've been talking about their outcome. The way they've been talking about their outcome is, hey, we're going to make $10 billion a year, not 1.5. They haven't said that number, but that's sort of been the insinuation. And our profit's going to be off the charts because all you idiots didn't unlock this sort of team golf concept that we are unlocking, and that's going to generate a ton of revenue for our league. And so I'm just, I don't know, like the way they've been talking and what I read in the article don't really match up.
That's fair. But I will say, like, every CEO of like every Fortune 500 company kind of talks in the same way. They talk in hyperboles. That's how they roll.
I would also like to maybe push back on who is in charge of determining at McKinsey who the top 12 players are that Liv could get.
Extensive.
They got 4 of them. Those being defined as Dustin Johnson. Okay, cool.
Sure. Fair.
All good. Phil Mickelson. Fine. Yeah, that works. Henrik Stenson and Sergio Garcia were the other 2 of the top 12 that they got, which makes me a little bit concerned about the 12 that they had identified.
That's got to be a blow to the ego of like Bryson and Brooks now.
Yeah. And Cam Smith. And now I guess this would have been done before like Cam Smith had the year that he had in 2022. But I guess the only thought process would have been like longevity in the game internationally. Like if you're trying to build something international, if you get Sergio and Stenson, maybe that helps more than Brooks and Bryson. I don't know. Maybe I don't believe that, but that's the assumption.
You could talk me into Sergio, I guess. The Stenson thing, I don't know. I listen, like I like Henrik Stenson. I enjoy his personality. I think that he's a pretty good dude. Like I enjoy following him, covering him, all of it. I don't know in what world he's a top 12 guy, whether even like popularity, I don't think so. Game, certainly not. I just don't know like what that path is.
Not even the Phil personality, right? I have not even heard Henrik Stenson speak in over a year. So it's not like he's out there designed to be the face of the league or one of the 12 faces of the league either.
I'm not really sure. And from the international aspect, if that was like very important to them, you would think someone like Patrick Reed, who's one of the only people ever to be given membership to the DP World Tour, would be on this list as well.
Every day I work with Patrick, I like him more and more. You know, it's just like he's so good at this.
That was really good. Phil Mickelson, by the way, currently 374th in the data golf rankings.
Oof,
and yet top 12 in the McKinsey ranking. McKinsey should produce their own world ranking. They should sponsor the OWGR. Okay, we're gonna do this again. Pull up this comment, producer Troy. 445 from Tour Pro. I don't know how many times we have to go over this. He says, embarrassing for golf. Dustin Johnson has just dropped out of the OWGR top 40. Listen, we've gone over this 100 times. I don't want to cover it every week. Dustin Johnson's currently 8th in the data golf rankings, which is probably correct. You can't put together an official, I tweeted this whole thing out. You can't put together an official world golf rankings that produces players into major championship fields and also includes closed tours like Live. Because if you're doing so, then you're allowing players to shoot anything because they don't have a cut and it's a closed tour. You'd shoot 100, 110, 15 times in a row and still get OWGR points. That can't happen. And whatever you think about Dustin Johnson, like that cannot be part of the formula of fielding major championship events.
I think the example that we've used probably a half dozen times still stands, because if you do allow that, you open the door for a scenario in which, let's say, TaylorMade wanted to create a league that was only their guys, 12 guys, and they played 7 or 8 events a year, and they all got big time OWGR points to essentially game the system and ensure that they're going to get into all the major championships. Like they're like, is there a better way to do this? Yes, probably. But like the idea of a closed tour really opens up a can of worms if people don't start playing nice.
And people's response is the Hero World Challenge. I hear you.
Should not get points.
I hear you. I think the rebuttal is, it's a one-off event that is like 1/50th of like the of a specific tour. And yet I still don't think it should get points. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's not a hard thing. We've gone over this a couple of times. What else? Anything else? New York Times, OWGR rants. Anything else we need to get through?
The Rory article was great.
Oh, yes, the Rory article.
I don't know if there wasn't anything. It was just compelling. He's obviously, I believe, an incredibly compelling person. His Paul Kimmage. So Paul Kimmage is I can't remember it's the Independent. I think it's the Irish Independent. I'm probably going to get that name wrong, but he's done 3 or 4 of these big sit downs with Rory where it's, it took me 45 minutes to read through everything, but it's phenomenal stuff. I mean, it's just really, there's some great quotes in there from people around Rory. There's a great Shane Lowry quote where he kind of sat Rory down and was like, you're one of the best players of all time. You need to start playing like it. Which was, not the first time that's happened to Rory from people around him. The whole thing is, it's very compelling. It's very interesting. Everybody should go read it.
Yes, there are. They actually have it split up into 2 parts, right? KP, there's a part 1 and a part 2 here. Is that right?
Well, and there's a third one that is all inclusive. So it's like the whole thing. So I think there was actually a part 3 maybe that got kind of lumped in there.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
I need to send you that PDF, Patrick. Remind me.
I got what, the new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to save Patrick money so he can bet on college basketball.
Well, Twitter Blue too. I got a lot of expenses going on these days.
The expenses are piling up by the minute.
What's this thing I see in the outline about a fantasy league?
Oh, Patrick. So I've been a big advocate for season-long fantasy golf for next year, and Patrick came up with a little content idea, I mean, I don't want to steal this from you, Patrick. What were your thoughts here?
I'm just saying there's roughly 8 of us. I don't know if Coach could do it, but the First Cut boys all together with producer Troy, and we draft our fantasy teams to stream it live.
The idea, KP, and we'll see how this goes, is to try to get fantasy golf to be much more like fantasy football, something that has never really existed before, where you have week by week matchups against your friends. There's a draft. The standard version of fantasy football has never existed for fantasy golf before. And I think there's a bit of an appetite for it because there's a lot of things that are like, hey, if you have Patrick Mahomes in your league, you have this known entity and you're the only person who has him, right? It's a commodity now. And that doesn't really exist for golf. And so far, with how many leagues have been filled via Twitter, I think the feedback's been pretty positive.
Is the idea that in golf, everybody could draft Justin Thomas in a given week, essentially?
So that would be the way it's set. The more popular way that it's set up now, yes,
yeah,
the DraftKings style is everybody gets Justin Thomas. But if you draft him 3rd overall, you're the only person who has Justin Thomas.
I think what's even more interesting, I used to do fantasy baseball. I never really got into fantasy football, but the idea of a keeper league, where all of a sudden you're drafting the Cootie twins out of Texas, right? Because you get them for the next 20 or whatever, however many years.
Yeah.
I think it puts, probably too much emphasis on the original draft, but you could do it. You could have an annual supplemental draft where you're drafting new guys and.
Yeah, and what you could do is it's a keeper league, but you can only keep 3 or 4. And so then you have to make decisions every year. So I could keep Pearson forever, but he's going to be one of the 4 that I keep, and I got to throw back everybody else.
So what was your idea of score? How do you score this, Patrick? Because you've got golf is, as we've talked about ad nauseum, you've got different tours, and is it PGA Tour only? How does all that work?
You got to talk to Rick. He's the one who's been pushing the season-long fantasy here.
So it would be PGA Tour only, just because that's where the data comes from for the most part, and it would be loosely based on DraftKings scoring, which is 3 points for a birdie, a half a point for a par, et cetera, et cetera. So it's based on hole by hole scoring. I think you could do it with money. And I think the best version of it, actually, Kyle, and this is probably for next year, not this upcoming year, would be to only do the top 21 elevated events, because what you're going to find Sahith is the most valuable fantasy golfer there is, because he plays so much more than everybody else, or at least did last year.
Yeah. And that's that. I love Sahith. You don't really want that to be the case.
No,
right?
you don't want Sahith going number 1 overall before Rory and JT and Xander and Cantlay and all these guys.
Which Again, this should be a signal to the PGA Tour that your model is a little bit broken, right? Not that you should be basing everything on fantasy results, but listen, I think this is really intriguing because I think you can, I think over a longer period of time, like it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of silly when somebody like Mark or even me beats Rick in something fantasy related because Rick is so much smarter about that stuff than we are. And I think over a long period of time, that would sort of work itself out. And the cream would rise to the top, so to speak. And if we did something like this.
Yes, and golf there is a ton of like variance is good in this style for golf, right? Because whoever you get matched up against, like it ends up being fairly competitive each and every week. So maybe something we'll hammer out the details on and figure out before we got like 3.5 weeks before it would probably start the Sony Open. It wouldn't start the Tournament of Champions. So we got some time.
I think if we do it, we should do it for just the elevated events in 2023.
Maybe we should do that.
Cool with that.
Yeah, I have an alternate elevated schedule. It's pretty sick. That we could
throw in some Euro stuff, whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey,
sounds like we're doing it.
Listen, I didn't need much of a nudge. I just needed someone. I needed a slight gust, slight breeze to just push me in that direction. Happy to do it.
And look, I'm gonna need a cleanup in one league because I accidentally joined like a $400 one. So
a $400
gonna need to get
golf league.
Yeah, Rick's got hundreds of them floating around the internet. I just clicked on a link. Luckily, it wasn't spam or anything, and boom, got to pay $400 to someone.
There's 100 leagues that we filled across everything from free to some people are playing for $500 or $1,000 per team.
Per entry.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're all 8-man leagues. So that's like 800 people across 100 leagues.
Is this the I got an email about this. Is this
yeah.
Okay. The $100 one and done, $100,000 one and done.
So that's okay. So that's something different. So that we got
$100,000 each.
So there's season long fantasy golf where you get involved with your 8 friends or your 7 friends, or in Patrick's case, and in most people's case, 7 other people randomly from the internet.
I don't have 7 friends. So.
And I moved my one and done that I've been running for however many years now. I moved it to a new platform, and it's now like all regulated. It's all like on the up and up. Not that it wasn't before, but it's all on like the up and up, and it's got $100,000 guaranteed payout prize pool.
Wow.
Rick, how much is yours? $100?
$100. Yeah.
All right, I'll join that one.
So it'll have 1,000 people in it. First will be 15,000 or something like that. I mean, I'm telling you, like the sentiment behind golf and like where it's going it's so big because it's year round, it's weekly, it has a really good cadence. Once people bet on it, once people get involved in fantasy, they're so much more excited about it. And also like the league, the tour didn't embrace it for so long that now it's like a floodgate situation.
I will say for one and done the last 2 years, I haven't used like Rory or Rahm. I was just
that's wise. Why do you think it's a floodgate situation, Rick? I'm curious about that.
So the structure of it is really good for betting, right? So the once a week thing where you have a couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to like learn about the tournament, learn about the course, and then you get to place a bet. That's great. It has a natural cadence of stopping after the 3rd round, stopping after the 4th round, stopping after the 2nd, stopping after the 3rd. That allows for live betting, which a lot of sports don't have. You can usually only do it at like halftime, in between quarters, or if you're a real sicko, kind of in the middle of it. But most people aren't doing that. And then you've got these really, really big events that kind of create this just like, okay, every month in the summer, we just like spin the wheel harder again. And I mean, PointsBet came out with their stuff. They're like their golf betting's like way up year over year. It just has a really good structure for people trying to wager on it. The other thing, Kyle, is there's no other sport that you can routinely get like 20 to 1, 50 to 1, 100 to 1 in 4 days. You usually have to like place a future on some crappy team to win the NBA finals to get something like that.
Yeah.
It's just a very unique sport. And until 2 years ago, the PGA Tour wanted nothing to do with it. And now they're like embracing a lot, investing a lot. And when the league starts churning in that direction, it's going to be really popular.
Did you see that TPC Scottsdale opened up that because it's a sports book, right?
Yeah,
like
they broke ground
property?
on it. They broke ground on it. Yeah.
Sorry, didn't open up, but is going to like this time next year.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive sports book / bar / restaurant / everything like right next to TPC Scottsdale. It's a DraftKings location.
Can't wait for us to be there.
And Monahan essentially said what you're saying, Rick, which is I didn't envision something like this 5 years ago, which should maybe be a little concerning given that that's your job, you know? So anyway, like I do think I don't, it's not my world, but I'm fascinated by it. And I think it's going to be a big part of what the PGA Tour's future is. And I think part of that is why, or that is part of the reason that we, I think, all push for more transparency and more openness from the tour, because this is going to be, I mean, you talk about, you know, $1.5 billion. Like, you want to talk about opening that up. This is part of that. Right. And the quickest way to undermine that is to be opaque, to not be transparent. So anyway, we don't need to talk about what the PGA Tour needs to do better, but
anything else? Final thoughts before we get out of here.
I think Dean Burmeister needs to win on the DP World Tour to get into the top 50.
Dean trying to get in the Masters.
Is this the last? Is this the last DP event?
I believe so. I think Louis did it last week. I think he's good.
Okay, so we're running out of weeks. This might be the last one, and he's just outside. Yes,
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Keep an eye on old Dean. See if he can get himself in. We'll be back after the conclusion of the PNC Championship. That'll be Sunday night. Update you on that and everything else that has happened between now and then. Big thanks to producer Troy, does all the hard work behind the scenes. Patrick McDonald trying to get over 500 with under on, who is it? Alabama?
The seniors, the smart seniors.
The super seniors, Memphis Tigers, under 152.5. Thanks for coming.
At amateur status, if that does not cash, send all your hate to that Twitter. And Kyle Porter can be found at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.